interviewed just before Christmas Herb Keenan, senior correspondent for the Jerusalem Post, and what he said on air is, it's no doubt, the Palestinian people are suffering, it's difficult. But one thing he did add to that is the role of Hamas, that Hamas is hiding behind its own people, hiding behind women and children, intensifying the situation there, so much that even Egypt is stopping foodstuffs and other trade from passing through the tunnels as a result of the safety issue regarding Israel. When Israel strikes against Gaza in this territory, it's all over the newspaper that Israel is also having rockets thrown in its territory, hurled on a daily basis. And my question to you, Joel, is what feedback do you give to this? It's a bad situation for Israel from the point of view of trying to protect its own right to exist. And Hamas is taking full advantage of that to the expense of its own people. How do you respond to that, Joel?
He's empowering them.
I think it's interesting to look before the outbreak of violence in the latter part of 2008 and early part of 2009 in Gaza. Hamas and Israel had a ceasefire with each other, mediated by the Egyptian government. And it's interesting to look who broke that ceasefire. On November 4th of 2008, Israel made an incursion into Gaza and killed 4 Palestinians. And that's when the rockets started again. Throughout that ceasefire period, Hamas had fired no rockets. There were a few rockets from other extremist groups. There are other groups in the territory, the PFLP and Islamic Jihad, that are more extreme than Hamas is. And Hamas had actually tried to clamp down on those and had arrested the people that had launched those rockets. And again, it's not that I'm defending Hamas, but to say that they have never ceased to fire those rockets. When they had a ceasefire, it was Israel that had come in and had started the violence, which led to, I should mention, over 700 Palestinian civilians, overwhelmingly women and children, being killed in that conflict.
Can you respond to this?
If I could just jump in.
Yes.
It's very interesting, Joel, the way you create context. You create a snapshot at particular points in time without really giving context. You throw out numbers which haven't really been verified. It's the same propaganda that we hear again and again and again and again. Why don't you go back to 2005 when Israel withdrew from Gaza, when there was great hope that Gaza would emerge as an economy, that Gaza would emerge as a state and a good neighbor. And within very short shrift, what do we have? We have rockets being fired into southern Israel. You talk about the ceasefire, this bogus ceasefire that happened more recently. You don't talk about the 8,000 rockets that were fired into southern Israel before then, that put a whole area of southern Israel under threat, that put Sderot children in bunkers, and that created havoc, which to this day, the effects are still being felt among those who were victimized in this way. So to just jump in and provide a snapshot at a particular point in time really doesn't cut it. I think we should be more sophisticated than that in terms of looking at the true context of who the aggressor is here, and it certainly isn't Israel.
Okay, let's go to Earl on line 4, calling from Alberta. Hello, Earl, you're on the line.
Hi.
Hello, Earl, go ahead.
I just totally agree with the comment made a while back. If the Arabs would lay down their arms, there would be peace in Israel. If the Israelis would lay down their arms, there would be no Israel.
Wow. Earl, thanks for calling in with your comment. Let's go now to Leonard on line 8. Hello, Leonard, you're on the line.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Leonard.
Okay, lots of university students here today, but nobody's mentioned the fact that I have a few comments, okay?
Well, make them real quick, Leonard. Make them real quick.
I'll make it as quick as I can. Number one, Palestine has never been a people. It's been a region in history. And number two, Hamas, with their political platform, I think that anybody in Palestine that voted for Hamas is a terrorist. And also, too, one more comment. Every time there's been a ceasefire, every time Hamas has called for a ceasefire, it's only to rearm. And that we have to keep in mind, that Israel does have a right to defend itself. And I can't believe that educated people are coming out on the side of Palestinians. Just can't believe it.
Leonard, you certainly did make your comment short, and I applaud you for that. Thank you so much for calling in. We're going to go for a break. We'll be back after this. Don't go away. Hello again. Welcome back to our discussion. We're talking about Israel Apartheid Week, and the purpose of the show today is really to capture the Israeli perspective on this, on what it's doing to the state of Israel, and also what it means to the Jewish people. Of course, we have a guest that's joining us from Mountain Edmonton, and he's been brave indeed to join us, and we're happy to have him on board. We've invited him to give us the background, to give us the information and what the drive is behind Israel Apartheid Week, which one of our callers, astute indeed, did say that it's run into 2 weeks because it's celebrated, I suppose, differently in various countries, but it's now 2 weeks. Well said. Now, before we move on with our guest, let's go now to Major Dave on line 1. Hello, Major Dave. You're on the line.
Hi, Christine. Hello to you and the panel.
Hi, Dave.
2 comments. One, the word apartheid, when it comes to Israel, doesn't even fit. The word is just a lie. It doesn't exist. If we look at the West Bank, one, they have self-determination. They have their own judges, their own courts. They rule their own territory by their own means. 2, if we take a look at the Israeli Muslims living in Israel, they have all the same rights as the Jews or the Jewish Israelis living in Israel. They serve in our Knesset. They're doctors, lawyers. They can go to the same schools as we do. They can travel in and out of the country at any time. And as far as this gentleman in Calgary is concerned, or Edmonton, I'm sorry, this Joel fellow, I just caught the program now, I think he should read more than one newspaper if he wants to get all the facts.